Freelancer Codex podcast. Your host, Steven, and co-hosts Mike, Devon, and JD are all set. Join us and tweet your questions at Freelancer Codex. Find us on Facebook at Freelancer Codex, or send emails to freelancercodex@gmail.com. Strap into your javelins and let's drop in.
Episode 50 of the Freelancer Codex podcast, the longest running Anthem podcast on the internet. I am your host, Steve, and I have been for 50 episodes, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Michael, Devon, and JD. Guys, it's great to be with you after 50 long episodes where the majority of the time all we had was like a 7-minute video to talk about, and we did that for forever. But we made it. I don't know how many of us are going to make it to be 50 years old, so this will be the first time you can say, hey, I hit 50. Awesome. Good for us, right? So, I don't know.
Negative really outlook on life, Steven.
I'm just saying.
You can't shoot from the hip anymore.
No, we can't. I should write all this down. So there
Then he'll just go off script anyways. So
yeah, I'm off book.
You can write down the script, and I would just go off it. So there's 191 days left until the official release of Anthem. 184 days if you get Origin Access Premiere with the PC. Don't know if they're going to release that with consoles. I would assume that maybe they will. I mean, that'd be awesome if they did.
They will, but it's only 10 hours, right?
They did, 10 hours, but that's, compared to being able to play a week early, 10 hours is like nothing.
I mean, unless they give you Premiere access on the Xbox, which would be fine. But I mean, that's the normal standard right now, a week early access with only 10 hours to play. So. Yeah,
but hopefully you can get that full access, because Premiere access, that's just a whole week. It's not only 10 hours, correct?
Yeah, no, it's the whole week. You can play it the whole time. Yeah.
So most PC players will have the game beat before it even gets released on Xbox or PlayStation. So take that week off, and then when a game gets released and everyone's trying to jump on and overloading the servers, you'd be like, I already beat the game, guys. This is old news. I can tell you all about Anthem. Trash game, garbage. Don't even play it. Not the Destiny. Oh, I'm just saying it could possibly happen that way.
Once again, when you go off book,
I'm sorry. It's like I've read so many books this week, but I want to know, Michael. I need you to tell me, and I need to know what game you've been playing.
Michael.
It's the only time he's ever said that. So, my boys and I, we are not currently right now, but when we do play, when we have the chance to play, we jump on FIFA, kick some soccer balls around, and.
So are you leveling up at FIFA, or is it just kind of like, push the buttons, if it goes in, it goes in?
No, I'm leveling up. I've got some skill.
I believe you.
I've got some skill. I've got some skill.
You stream that and then you...
No, I don't think I have that kind of skill.
Yo, this is your boy Mike playing FIFA. Smash the like button. JD, what game are you playing?
I've been playing Chroma Squad.
He's had 3 Mountain Dews in the last 10 minutes.
I haven't had caffeine in weeks. What's Chroma Squad?
So Chroma Squad, it was this game that was made on Kickstarter a while back. It's basically like you manage the production of this Power Rangers-esque show, and then everything turns real later on in later seasons. But it's really fun. It's like Fire Emblem type combat. So, I mean, I grew up as a huge fan of Power Rangers. Chroma Squad's on Xbox One, PC. It's so much fun. And lots of references, especially the Japanese series and the American series is so good.
Very cool. We'll have to check it out.
That does sound cool.
Yeah, very cool. Devin, what have you been playing?
So I am an inside beta tester for the Master Chief Collection. I've been playing that. It's pretty sweet.
Whoa, back up. Master Chief Collection was released years ago.
That's correct.
So, and you're beta testing a game that was released years ago?
Yeah, so when it released, there was a lot of problems, right? And the matchmaking, all the networking stuff was horrible.
Was awful.
It was really bad. But it was 4 games,
So you're a beta tester for the Master Chief Collection.
Yes,
4. Does that mean... mean...
No, I'm not a masturbator, Mike. No. Honestly.
And there goes
Walked right into that one.
I didn't see it coming. No, I'm going to stop talking. Devin, please continue with your story.
There goes our ratings. So we've had
Anyways,
two
Does that count
episodes.
against?
We've had
that
two
count against
episodes that have
Microsoft?
gotten an E. Yes, it does.
Anyways, let me continue here, Mike, before you derail us.
Okay,
and go
fine. Go ahead,
Further.
go ahead. Sorry,
demonstrate.
I apologize.
Steve's going off the script here.
I apologize.
But
I
yeah, no.
apologize.
So last year they've been working on it for over a year. They talked about that they are working on it to update the matchmaking. They've also added 4K updates to all of the games. This update only works for the Xbox One X, right? The 4K stuff. So the matchmaking, I believe, will work for everything, but the 4K stuff is only on the Xbox One X. So the release should be coming out to the public sometime this year. They haven't said when, but they're not accepting any more testers. So we're in the final stages, but it works really fast. It's really good. So
And that's just going to be anyone that has Game Pass is going to.
I'm sure it'll come out to Game Pass and be on there. So this is my guess. The other game I'm
Very
playing
cool.
is the original Borderlands. So I started playing that again, and also World of Warcraft. So
I was so close to clicking that buy button, and I slapped my hand, and I said, "Don't just walk away."
I figured
Turn
your
off-
wife came up and slapped you in the back
Walk
of the head.
away.
Get away.
That would happen.
Walk away.
So I
Walk
just
away.
No, it's
prevented
been
that
a lot of fun. So I mean, I'm definitely new to it. I've played it maybe 40 times. So in the last year, but this new expansion's been good because, playing with my friends who've been playing it for 15 years, it's always like, oh yeah, we know all this stuff. We know everything.
Nice.
So I'm trying to go through a mission, and they're like, "Oh, just skip that part. Go over here. Go over here." And so now it's like, okay, I can take my time and go through the content and enjoy it. So it's pretty fun. So
Very cool. I've been playing a SimCity clone. Well, it's not really a clone. It's SimCity-S game on iOS called Pocket City. It's very addicting. Everyone get in on there. It's been scratching my Hearthstone itch, so I haven't reinstalled Hearthstone on my phone, so I just don't have enough time to play that game.
the only game I play on my phone is Phase 10. So yeah, there you go. In case
Thanks.
you wanted to know.
Phase 10 is good. Phase 10 is a good game. For
Yeah.
some reason, I thought you said FaceTime, and I thought, okay, you FaceTime your kids a lot, but then how does that fit in the context of games? Oh, Phase 10. I gotcha.
Yeah.
I
Did
gotcha.
you guys know that this is the longest running Anthem podcast on the internet?
I did.
I think we.
Yay!
We actually have a Interceptor pin to give away.
Woohoo!
Devin, you got that Interceptor pin. We are going to find out who is going to get this bad boy. I'm going to click a couple buttons. And if the user followed us on Twitter and they retweeted our tweet, then they're going to get a win. I'm going to push a button. And it looks like, we know. Stormblade X69 XBL. Wait, that's not the right pin. So Stormblade X69 XBL won the Interceptor pin. So we will.
Woo!
Oh,
Congratulations.
we know him.
Congratulations, Stormblade.
Stormblade
Congrats.
in our Discord, so we can contact him there and send that out.
Awesome. Congratulations. Very cool.
All right. So Devin, what is the plan for the next giveaway? Are we gonna skip a week, or are we giving something away?
No, we're gonna give something away, but this time, instead of just retweeting, right? You have to comment and follow our YouTube channel, right? Got to follow and then put a comment on this video for episode 50. Tell us what your game that you're playing right now is, and we will pick one of those people
At random.
at random, and you can have this pin right here.
Am
Is
I
that the
allowed
storm?
to win?
The storm
Am I
pin?
allowed
Yeah,
to win the
allowed.
storm pin?
You're not.
You can certainly enter, Steven, but I will make sure we do not choose you.
I understand. All right, congratulations, Stormblade. And moving on, if there's nothing else, guys, we're gonna get into our main topic.
That was episode 50. Thanks for tuning in.
Oh, I guess we're done.
Oh, there's more?
Real quick, guys, we had a quick mention of about a day-night cycle happening in Anthem. During the live demo, Ben mentions that night has fallen on the world of Anthem, and it's going to get dangerous. But they said we're not going to go into that just yet. So when he says it's going to get dangerous, do you guys think we're going to have specific daytime enemies compared to specific nighttime nocturnal enemies?
Yes.
Or do you think it's just going to be enemies are going to be stronger? Devin, what do
Well,
you-
it could probably be. It could probably go a couple different ways. You could probably have day night, or you could just have more at night. Versus changing them up. So maybe a 3-pack of Scar, in the day turns into a 6-pack of Scar in the evening.
Did you pick up a 6-pack of Scar? Yeah.
I must.
Yeah, bruh.
Oh man. Yeah. So, anyways, I believe there will be a difference, right? So maybe you can run into some of the creatures that you'll see at night. You might be able to run into a few of them during the day, but it's just like now where there are nocturnal hunters, right? Like here on Earth,
Right.
So there's gonna be creatures that go out at night and hunt and do other things, and I'm guessing like most other MMO type games or RPG scenarios, nighttime things get harder and worse and scarier, right? And so that's where I think where they're gonna go.
Do you know what I
That's
really
kind of like
hate
a
about
zombie
some? Well,
trope,
and you know what I really hate about nighttime cycles is the nighttime cycle in Sea of Thieves. I can't see anything. I can't see anything in that game at night.
It gets very, very dark. You got to turn your gamma
Yeah,
way up.
You need my glasses?
I might. And a
JD,
lantern.
JD, what's your thought while I search for this important information about the day and night cycle?
Well, yeah, I mean, so I think it could be a little bit of column A, column B, that, maybe there are some enemies that only come out at night, and maybe there are just other variants of certain enemies that come out at night. Like, not to use, like, to throw out the term, like, vampire or anything like that nonchalantly, but, like, maybe something that, like, during the day has, like, a different form. Like, let's say, like, some of its more sensitive tissue or softer tissue is sensitive to light. So at night, like, so example, what did we call it last week? The space buffalo or space cow?
Cow?
The Scare Bear.
Yeah, like what if like some of that like hardened plating
Did
like
you say
actually like
Scare Bear?
Yeah, the Scare Bear.
what?
That was not at all part of the thing. But go ahead, JD. Keep
That,
going.
that yeah. So you take like imagine if like some of the like hard armored platings and stuff like underneath that like there were like other parts of the body that extend and that tissue is like sensitive to like daylight or something, so it's like a deadlier form at night and it can only come out at night because of like I don't know UV rays or something like that. But then there's also the possibility that like big creatures come out at night and even bigger creatures come out to hunt them, and I'm excited by that.
Right.
I want to kill big things.
They did say there was a bigger creature than the Titan we saw, right? So
Ooh.
Yeah, that
They
was a
did
small
something
town.
about big creatures, but I also found this thing going back to like July 15th. Some user Braden on Twitter says, "How do different weather conditions come about? Are they triggered by scenarios and certain areas of the map? Are they on a cycle like the day and night cycle, or are they simply random things? They're controlled by the servers." So that wasn't exactly what I was saying, but so we have our night cycles are controlled by the servers. So I'm guessing I think I remember them saying that cycle is 1 hour. But I cannot find it. I'm not
yeah,
just
no,
making
it was
that up.
they did say it was 1 hour. I can't remember if it was in the Ask Me Almost Anything About Anthem, or if it was Mark that tweeted out. But yeah, they did say it was an hour. So
Okay, so
an hour
weather
in,
effect-
in our world, right? Our world game
yeah,
time.
an hour our world is a whole cycle.
Yeah.
So generally,
I think they said that in the Twitch stream because I remember hearing that.
all right. So if you play at a specific time, say you play on your lunch break, that should probably be the same day, like time of day every time that you play. I'm guessing, unless that varies somehow. So if you're always waking up, you're gonna wake up at 4 o'clock before you go to work. You're gonna play. It's probably gonna be night all the time, or it's either gonna be daytime all the time. That's what I'm guessing. I don't know how it's gonna vary like that, but as long as you can turn up the gamma so you can actually see when it's nighttime, that's gonna be awesome.
Exactly.
Man, it sure does get dark.
Just gotta
All
get
right,
good.
so-
Okay, get good.
So speaking of changing
good.
weather, what get good, son? What kind of weather effects do you guys want to see? We know we're gonna see shaper storms. Are we gonna see shaper tornadoes too? It's real late, Mike. Real late, man.
Shaper tornadoes.
Episode 50 is going off the
Right.
rails.
It's
Shaper
That's nothing new
volcanoes.
for anybody.
Shaper volcanoes. Well, what about we did see some water effects. Water seems to play a big part in Anthem. Did we see any rain in the demo?
No, we saw some waterfalls though.
There was
We did see
rain and storm
waterfalls,
in
but
the
that's not
last
like
year, I thought,
weather
wasn't it?
effect.
Yeah, we saw rain last year during the
Or
storm.
was it just around the Shaper storm where we saw the weather effects?
It was just around the shaper storm.
I'm guessing there'll be some kind of different weather. I don't know if they're gonna have a blizzard, right? So that's the problem. You've seen a lot of games where they have one season, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of the division, it's always winter, or
Right.
there wasn't really seasons in Destiny. There wasn't really weather, obviously.
There were areas though.
Yeah, there were
It seemed
areas
like
that had
there were
different
areas
stuff.
where you got snow if you were outside the city, or
Yeah, but it
or
wasn't like
whatever.
Yeah.
snowing or going crazy.
Right.
In
Right.
regular places. So that'll be interesting to see how they really implement that. And I mean, they did say they're going to have seasonal activities. So maybe as it gets closer to winter and fall, and I mean, obviously it's different depending on where you live. Because if you live in
Right.
Australia, their winter is our summer, vice versa. So I don't know. I mean, that's up to them to figure out where they base the events off of. Oh, it's Halloween or it's Christmas or whatever. So.
Right. Right.
So you think they'll base all that stuff on our climate or the climate
Well,
in?
I think they'll
It's a
have
little right?
multiple storms on a regular basis, but they'll also have like special events. I'm guessing because they said they could trigger that whenever they want. Like they can trigger mass migrations or storms or whatever they feel like. So
Or they could trigger a storm that triggers mass migrations. Ooh,
yeah,
that would be cool.
they have both.
That could be one of the big events that they do that kind of changes the
The
game.
topography.
Yeah.
I'm
Ooh,
hoping that
exciting.
sandstorms. I'm hoping that we've got a big
Sandstorms?
Sand zone. Yeah, sandstorms. Just they look cool.
We
And-
haven't seen any sand areas
Well-
in anything that we've seen, have we?
I
No,
mean, that
we-
doesn't necessarily mean that it won't be there either. But I mean, personally, what I'm hoping to see is some kind of.
view. Go ahead.
Huh?
The only time we would have saw that would have been either in concept art or in the.
Oh, what about
Yeah.
what about the Anthem logo with all the different javelins? Isn't there one in
Yeah,
Yeah,
kind of
like-
like a deserty place,
Yeah,
wasn't
there was a
Or-
little
lava?
desert place. I thought.
Yeah,
dessert?
Well-
You were thinking dessert place.
I wish.
I
All
hope.
right. It's episode 50. We got cake.
Gotta have
Do we
dinner
have cake?
first.
Oh,
We
man.
should have candles. All right, moving on. We're moving on, guys. We are focused on all this stuff. Okay, these are some. I pulled some questions from Twitter. So JD, go ahead. If you got something, you go. If not, I'm gonna walk this
Yeah,
thing
no,
over.
I was just gonna say, like, I'm really hoping that regardless of what kind of weather systems that we end up having, I hope that it actually, because they said that the environment has an effect on javelins, like flying under waterfalls and that sort of thing. So
Right.
if it starts raining, like, do you overheat slower? Like, because it's constantly cold water hitting.
I'd assume you
jets?
wouldn't overheat at all.
I mean, well, yeah, I mean, it could be, or it all depends. Like, if it's a small water droplet, the jets are a certain heat, then it might evaporate once it gets close enough to the jets. But I'm no physicist or scientist of any sort. But if you're in a cold environment, do you overheat at all? Like, if you have
Well,
sand,
but-
would your jets get?
But if
clogged
it's
with
raining
sand?
and it's cold, then you have an ice problem.
yes,
And your jets freeze.
Yeah.
Iron Man had this problem in the first movie.
Do you have any problem with turbulence
fixed
when you're flying, through a windstorm or something? Like, is flying
we
into
did-
a shaper storm dangerous?
I
saw them
don't
fly
think
into-
it's super safe.
We saw him fly into a shaper storm. It didn't look like it knocked him off course at all or anything. So I'm not
Yeah.
100% sure if that's a thing or not.
It could be.
Okay, Mark has been answering lots of Twitter questions. So
Yay, Mark.
the GG God, I guess that means good game, maybe, or good gangster, or Gorilla Grodd. That could be a thing. He says or asks, will Anthem support modding like Fallout? And then Mark says, no, at least not for now. So before we move on to modding, does everyone know when someone asks about modding, what exactly that is? For our listeners that might not know, modding is the ability for people to go in, change a lot of stuff in the game, create their own levels, create their own characters, create their own weapons. They get access to source code, or they get access to it, and they can go in, make changes. People that have been updating different games like Fallout, that's when you see Buzz Lightyear in Fallout walking around, or you see Iron Man costumes in there walking around. So that's what they mean by modding. So Mark says no, at least not
For now.
at least not for now. So are you guys for modding? Would you like to see modding in Anthem in any shape or form?
No.
I don't think so.
Okay. Good.
Maybe in a
good.
couple of years, but I don't think right now. I mean, it's a brand new IP, and I don't really see the point for it right now.
It seems like Anthem has some more serious tones, and it seems like to mod something would kind of diminish from those. If you see Buzz Lightyear flying around, taking on a space bear, then maybe you're
I'm gonna
scratch
have
your
to
head a
make
little
my,
bit.
I mean,
Colossus look like
there's-
Buzz Lightyear now.
Well, I mean, and maybe there will be a Buzz Lightyear shader. You know,
I mean, there's some
confirmed.
really cool
So,
ones. Like, I've never really been able to figure out modding for myself. I've never been that good with like PC gaming. But I mean, like sometimes you have like entire expansions that have been made like for Skyrim or for Fallout, and then other times, and in that respect, it can really add to the what is it the life of the game, like after launch,
Right.
like because people get hyped about it. But at the same time, you also just have like things that just become straight up memes. Like I don't know if any of you guys ever saw those old videos from a couple of years ago or a few years ago, several years ago now, really. With Randy, Macho Man Randy Savage as the dragon in Skyrim. So every time you blow fire, you're like, "Oh yeah!" And it's Macho Man Randy Savage. It was great.
Devon just cracked up just thinking about it.
Oh yeah!
So probably not right away, like Mark says. Maybe. I don't know if I would. I don't know.
I think the problem is with a game like Anthem, you wouldn't be able to do it because a lot of the stuff is match made. Maybe if you could go into single player and be able to do it that way, but then
Maybe.
you'd have to play alone. Anytime you're doing anything match made, it would either have to the other players you're playing with would have to download those assets also in order for them to show up on their side. I mean, I don't know exactly how all that works, but that kind of gets into it. A single player game like Fallout is fine. Single player game like what was that? Was it Furada? What was that? What's that game called? Skyrim. There you go. Sorry.
Nice.
So that game also single player, so you can do anything you want. It really doesn't affect anybody. So then exposure tags onto this and says, "Is that?" I'm just going to read this how it is. Okay. Is that you never know if it could happen or not, or not for now, or is there going to be some Frostbite people that are very mad at you for leaking on upcoming feature editions for future Frostbite games? So he's asking us, are you just giving us a press release answer of not right now and it could possibly happen? And then Mark says, I'd love to support it, but the tech isn't there at the moment. So, I mean, I think it's something that anyone would want to do because it does increase the longevity. I mean, getting a good modding fan base out there for people that are in your game constantly, learning about your game. Shoot, you find the best modders and you hire those people because they know your system in and out because they've been building their stuff on their free time because they want to. And you have that, but otherwise,
there's no modding for any Frostbite games, right? So they don't have that support for any of their games from Battlefield to Battlefront, anything on PC. None of the Frostbite. So Frostbite Engine doesn't support mods because they have to take the time to create that so that other people can do that. So that's basically kind of what he's saying is, well, he would like that, but it just doesn't exist. So they don't. I mean, I don't think they want it. EA doesn't want it to exist, basically.
Well, I think because you get into the when people start making things, like, do people start selling things? Do they start selling them on different websites? People are just making.
They
You get that stuff like black market-esque.
Well, and they also break the game, and a lot of people make the mods to cheat and do other things. So.
Well, yeah, and then you also get into like that really weird territory of like nudity mods and things that make children killable or something like that. Like things that start getting very inappropriate very quickly. That you like. I mean, it's just like as a creator of a game, all right, and somebody sees like somebody else playing your game, but it's modded, and they may not know that, and they see in that game that you can kill people, and then you can kill children. It could be a terrible PR nightmare, and just spiral out from there.
Yeah.
Is there a precedent for that? Has that happened?
JD always taking us to the dark places.
Steve doesn't want to talk about it.
I really don't. I'm talking about kids. Anyway, so Christopher Adams from Twitter says,
Christopher Robbins?
in some gameplay, we see ruins around the map. What kind of ruins are they? And Mark says, human in something, I guess. So all the ruins we've seen. So I mean, he says in something. So could be Scar, Shapers, the Dominion. I don't know if the Shapers are going to have ruins on their own planet. It's possible. Maybe they had somewhere to stay while they were making all this stuff. But Grab It ruins, Dominion ruins. What do you guys think?
Grab it. Totally grab it.
Okay, fair enough. I like it.
So
Grab
I mean, it's a neat thing to think about. Whose ruins are they? I'm assuming they're ruins of people who lived on the planet at one time.
The ancient Puebloans?
Ancient Puebloans.
Yeah.
Puebloan.
Wouldn't it just be ancient Pueblo?
No,
Yes.
not according to the state parks.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
Steven. Get
All
out
right.
Been a
there.
while
Visit your
since you've
state
been
parks.
to a national or state park. Hey,
Visit your state
I
parks.
was- I'll visit my state parks, and there will be state parks in Anthem that we can go visit, and they'll be.
Welcome to the Legion of Dawn State Park. Everything is destroyed, and we are all under attack. Please make your way to the exits.
Please
That's
do
pretty
not
good
walk
for
on the
onset.
walls.
Do not pet the scar.
don't.
Okay, Cody McCulloch.
Cola?
Michalagi. Collector's edition? Question
Cody,
mark?
Cody, we apologize for the mispronunciation of your.
I got it right in one of those. Then Mark says, no other editions planned. Okay,
I mean, he's answered that question like I don't know how
Forever.
many times.
so a billion times, and this was the question that we were talking about. So he's answered this question numerous times. He's answered the question about when it's going to release numerous times. So Mark's out there just tweeting a ton as much as he can over and over again, answering a lot of the same questions. Do people just not know because they're just not informed or they're just not looking? I mean, someone could probably take Mark's Twitter profile, scroll down a couple pages and find the answer to their question.
Yeah.
So is this a case of their message just not getting out if Mark is the only one trying to get it out there? Because Mark has a lot of followers. He's got a lot of BioWare fans. But obviously people don't know where to go to get the information because they keep asking him the same thing over and over again. So
So in our pre-show, we talked about there could be a couple different reasons. There could be I want my answer. I'm thinking about it right now. I want my answer right now. I'm going to send the tweet and I want a response in the next 30 seconds. Okay, so there's that crowd. There's also the crowd of, well, I know this has been answered before. I don't really want to go search for it because Google, and they ask the question again. Then I think there's a group that like just really wants that interaction, that personal interaction with Mark. So they've seen that this question has been answered a bunch, and so maybe, hey, I'll ask it, and I'll get a direct tweet from Mark, and that'll be cool, which probably is cool, and so they just ask it.
yeah, if he'd ever answer any of my questions, it might be cool. But
Well,
whatever.
and then there's maybe another group that Mark has a list in front of him that says you can answer these questions as many times as you want. Anything else that you are asked, please stay away from.
I'm sure he doesn't have
You know,
a
I mean-
list, but I'm sure he's. I mean, not one written
Yeah,
out
I'm
on
sure he
paper.
has guidance. I'm sure he has guidance.
I
though.
mean, he's probably part of that guidance as like an executive
More like
producer.
guidelines, really.
Yeah, the guidelines, really. But yeah, no, I mean, there's a mix of everything. Like you said, there's a lot of people that just don't want to go to the effort of just typing in Anthem the game and trying to find information. I mean, obviously we like to find information, but there's a lot of people. I mean, you just see how many times he's asked the same questions over and over again, and it's like, oh, well. I mean, there's still a lot of people out there that have no idea what's going on. So
Is that what you're thinking, Steve? Are you thinking that people aren't getting the information? Like maybe they should subscribe to the longest running Anthem podcast on the internet?
I mean, they could do that, and they can get the fantastic jokes that you pulled out of the beginning of this episode, which would be fantastic. But I'm thinking that there's main outlets that people go for news,
Right.
And because they haven't been too vocal on those, they did the Game Informer cover story, which had a lot of information, but
that was
even
in
then,
July,
still pretty early.
Yeah.
And now that people are seeing stuff at E3,
June,
yeah, it was before E3, but now that people are seeing stuff, they don't know where to go to find the answers because they'll go to a place like IGN, they'll go to a place like Game Informer, and there's not a lot of information there that they want to hear.
You mean like
And
big credible sites?
Yeah, the big credible ones that are sanctioned.
Sanctioned.
Yeah,
Sanctioned
That are
sites.
sanctioned. Sanctioned
So-
sites.
So, I mean, like, what's the answer? Do they just pay for pop-up ads in Fortnite because everyone's playing Fortnite and they'll see it there? That, hey, there's no collector's edition announced for Anthem. Stop asking. There's that many people playing, so you can pay for it there. But otherwise, I would say, we haven't had new information since the last time we heard anything, which was what? We had the blog post on the 2nd of this month, and we haven't heard anything. So is it just, they're not saying stuff officially, and it's just going, I mean, Mark's official, but it's obviously there's a lot of things that aren't being communicated well, I don't think.
Yeah.
instead of doing like
So-
the monthly update that's actually Anthem focused, it's kind of. I mean, they did a recap.
BioWare, right? I mean, it's BioWare,
Right.
so
Right, but I would say that because Anthem is their main thing right now,
it should be
You know,
Anthem focused.
it should be Anthem focused. I'm not saying that we should ignore Dragon Age and
Mass
all those
Effect.
other games that they do, but
That's not
just
the
kind of
focus.
right. So I don't know what the real answer is. I wish we had more information.
Is there a real answer? I mean,
There is a real answer. You just
we'll
tell
get
us
They're
into
just not going to tell us, but
we'll
I
get
mean-
information when they want to give us information, and isn't this kind of serving their purpose also, because we're still talking about it, we're still sitting here getting as
Yeah.
much information out as we can, and we
Yeah.
spent 47 episodes talking about a 7-minute trailer. So
yeah,
Yeah.
but that's
it's also
that's
a
good-
double-edged sword, though, right?
I mean,
you're absolutely right. It is a double-edged sword, and I wish I had that sword because you've been bugging me lately.
But I think, we've talked about this a lot, and I just don't. I mean, we don't understand how they have their plans, their PR plans or their media
Right.
and stuff like that. And it's like a simple weekly thing, a weekly blog about it, or a weekly here's a piece of concept art or anything
Mhm.
about it, to keep the
A trickle
hype and
charge
keep
kind
the
of thing.
trickle
Just-
going, right?
Just a
And-
trickle would be nice, but again, I mean, we're just really anxious, is all.
yeah, I mean,
'Cause we've seen some
obviously
awesome
I mean,
wanna know
stuff.
about the game.
I feel like
Yeah.
it does need to be said though that like if you don't get that information, like I mean, even if you're following Mark Dara on Twitter, you may not get an answer. I mean, you may not see every answer that he gives out. And the thing about that is that if you're not the kind of person who would follow Mark Dara on Twitter, what's to say that you're the type of person who would also like regularly visit the BioWare blog? Like, if,
Yeah. No.
that's a certain type of fan, and that's not the majority of most fans. And sometimes, sometimes you have the overlap of your average gamer and then your average Twitter user, and that instead of having a diehard fan who might already have the answer to this question, they could just be uninformed because they just don't. They're not diehard or hardcore about it enough to know off the top of their head. And so they ask them, they reach out, and then boom, they have a dev answer their question, and you have somebody. Well, you have this gamer who's average, casual, whatever you want to call them. And now they think, wow, the developers of this game have a good line of communication going. And they might tell that to their friends, like, wow, like Anthem looks good because the developers are like really talking to the fans about it and keep them updated. I mean, it's good press. It's building good faith with the community. I mean, even if it gives the appearance of like the left hand not knowing what the right hand is doing in terms of the gaming community that's coming up around it, I think it's an overall win for BioWare.
So you're saying Mark Dara's a bot? Is that what you're saying? He's just a Twitter bot?
Russian bot.
Things?
He's a bot.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, JD. Having those little interactions can really make hey, they talked to me, they told me this information, buy the game, tell my friends about it. All right. Chance from Twitter says, "Are we able to make multiple different freelancers if we wish to?" Mark says yes, so we're gonna have the option. If you want to make 7 different freelancers, I don't know what the number is gonna be. You're gonna be able to make that. So if you have kids or friends, significant others that want to play in your same account, and you only have one system, you can each roll your own character, so you don't have to use the same one. So, all right, Dan Xavier, I like that name. If I understand, it was impossible to finish the game alone. Mark says, you can play through the story alone. You can not do strongholds and other Elder Game stuff alone. So we've been talking a lot about this on our own Discord about dropping in, dropping out. So what are some of the downfalls or pitfalls that you guys can see about having automatic matchmaking for stronghold and Elder Game activity?
Well, the simple one is, right, like JD mentioned on the Discord today, is if you're playing with your friends and then one of your friends lags out and then they get automatically replaced with somebody else, and it's like, well, crap, now you're out of the game, so sorry, we'll see you in 45 minutes. It's like, all right, no, we'll all quit out and I'll start up together again. So, I mean, to me, that's really the only negative of people being able to come in, or if you lose someone that you're trying to play with and they get replaced. But I don't know about you guys. What do you guys think?
No, that seems like the only problem. Although, so when we would go in and play the game that shall not be named, and we had to do those activities, usually, so Steve, near the end of our group, it was you and I, and we always kind of counted on a third to drop in. And sometimes that would happen, and sometimes it wouldn't. So when it did, we were like, yeah, somebody's here doing the same activity in the same lobby, doing the same thing, and it helped out. But then most of the time, it was just him and I, which wasn't bad either. I mean, activities took a little bit longer, but I don't think that mattered because we were still playing. It was an activity we had done over and over again, so we kind of knew what to do. We knew what to expect. There was no get back. I mean, we kind of knew the level, and so it was just a time for us just to hang out together, shoot some mans, and blow the thing up. So I guess it could be a problem, especially if one of your group gets kicked. So yeah, I agree with you, Devon. This one time,
It's really JD that you're agreeing with. So.
JD, I agree with you via Devon.
Well, thank you.
Via the
He's like,
I mean,
thanks.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take it. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's the only possible problem, though. I mean, I play a lot of like Grand Theft Auto 5 online, and the thing about matchmaking sometimes can be is that you get paired with people that are otherwise annoying to play with. I mean, unless like usually when I go on GTA 5, I have an Xbox Live party all by myself, so then that way I don't ever hear anybody else because there's a lot of children in that game. There's also just a lot of people who are. Well, I mean, it's just that like if I'm not playing with my friends and I'm like interested in a conversation, and I don't want to be hearing stuff like you get like 6-year-olds who should not be playing Grand Theft Auto.
Correct.
Or you get somebody who's like
doesn't love them.
They're like playing games and they have like their speaker going on loud or something like that.
You mean those ratings mean something?
Ratings are important.
I mean, and then I do have to say that there is some merit to Bungie's argument for why they never put matchmaking into like things like raids and that sort of thing. Which is, if you get paired with somebody in a complex sort of game mode that requires communication, there's no like. Even if you have matchmaking settings to like you require a mic or something like that, that's never always been successful because sometimes people will plug in a mic for matchmaking so they can more easily find a match and then they'll unplug it. Or that's been my experience in the past when I've tried implementing things like that. And you have somebody come in, they unplug their mic in a situation where you need team communication, and you just have this silent dude going around doing his own thing. And he's not able to tell you. It's anti-teamwork that happens at that point.
I guess
Well, I don't know if that's so much. I think that's just a Bungie excuse. There's this little tiny company called Blizzard that 10 years ago they did 40-man raids when they're like, 40 people, yeah, sure, we can manage 40 people. Players are smart enough to do that. So, I don't know if it's so much that. I think players should have the option. If you are antisocial gamer like I am, I as well just turn everything off when I'm playing Overwatch. I just consider like all my opponent or all my teammates as AI. Like sometimes you have really good AI, sometimes you have really bad AI.
Man.
And so,
yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, I get that.
So because I don't want to talk to people. I don't like talking to people, which is weird when you think about it. And I don't want to have those interactions either because, like you said, JD, it's hit and miss. Sometimes you have the interactions where you're friends with people from now until forever on Xbox Live, and they're good friends, and that's cool. But that's not the norm.
How often do you think you find one of those people?
I'm talking with Devon, so.
We didn't meet on Xbox
1 in
Live.
100, I would say.
Oh, right. So it doesn't happen.
We didn't meet on Xbox Live. We met across a crowded room. Our eyes locked. We knew we would be doing a podcast one day.
This took a weird turn.
That's awkward. But so I mean, I did in Bungie's game Destiny. Obviously, I said it already once before, so it's fine.
I thought you were talking about Destiny's Child.
No.
He said the thing.
You have to use LFG, right? You have to use third-party sources, and I never had a bad experience with that. Just meeting up with random people to play through the objective, but that was because we're all like, "Look, we're wanting to complete this objective," and so, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess matchmaking could be a little bit different because maybe they're not as dedicated into it because they're not like, okay, let me go look up on a website, type in my name, say what I'm looking for, and try and search and find and send me a message and invite me and set up all this stuff. So that takes a little bit more effort than click on matchmaking to join. And they're like, oh, yeah, sure, I'll go ahead and see what I get. I only got a few minutes, but I'm not really gonna play. I mean, you could get stuff like that, but for me, the looking for game stuff, I haven't had a bad experience with that. So, I know people out there have. I mean, there's been a problem where you join and then you get kicked and whatever, but see, I mean, that's the thing is like they talk about being able to take care of toxic players and those kind of things, and it's like, well, how is that all going to work? I mean, they have to explain that all to us, right?
Yeah.
Okay, is there going to be a voting system? Or I mean, if three of us are playing together in a party and we'll just keep kicking everyone, I mean, is that going to be an issue? Or are we going to get flagged because we keep kicking everyone?
Because you're waiting for the fourth guy to join, or the fourth guy keeps dropping out.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Again, so it seems like its own meta in and of itself that this is part of the game, and you're gonna have good experiences, you're gonna have bad experiences, and you're just gonna have to roll with it. Some people, I mean, near the end of the game that Devon was talking about, you could go in without a mic, and everybody knew exactly what to do, and everybody could. I mean, you just looked at each other on the screen,
So
you saw who was playing. Yeah, well, and that's not going to be the problem with Anthem, but you get to the end of content, even when it comes out, you'll get to the end because there's a waiting period between DLCs and between expansions, which is fine because we know that happens, and there are going to be some activities that we know just kind of what we need, and we can see who's on the screen, and we're going to know who is supposed to do what, and you can go through without a microphone with limited communication, and that's fine too.
And I think that's gaming in general, because at something first releases, no one knows how to do it. You get groups of people that are going in trying to crack the code, and they do that. And then you start farming it. You get good enough to where your gear's increasing, to where you out level it, and then you put that raid on farm, or you put that stronghold on farm, and people can do it, just shepherding people through. So that's going to happen naturally. But we do have a guild system that they're going to talk about in the future. So how that's going to work, how we're going to be able to put people in, we'll have to see about that. So I mean, there's a lot of things that they can do. Still a lot of stuff that we don't know about. That with being 191 days away, how many months is that? We're like 6 months out, right? So yeah. I mean, that's a lot of information they can be telling us. Like this month, hey, we're going to talk about the guild system. This month, we're going to talk about the Interceptor. This month, we're going to talk about the Storm. This month, we're going to talk about the other enemies you're going to fight. This month, we're going to talk about crafting. I mean, there's stuff that they can put out on a monthly basis that keeps people in the know, keeps people interested. Because right now, the next time we're going to hear about anything is at Gamescom, and we don't even know if that's going to be anything new. I'm pretty sure they're probably going to have the same demo that they had at EA Play.
What's first? Is it Gamescom or PAX is first?
Gamescom is first. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
So Steve, I'm gonna talk to you a little bit, Steve, because you are really good at going internet dark before an MCU movie. Yeah, for an MCU movie, and you do that so you don't spoil stuff. So how much of that concept? Because it doesn't sound like you want any of that concept right now in Anthem. You want all the info right now. And I just got to thinking. So if but you said take the month, tell us all this, tell us all that, and I understand you don't want everything. So I get that part. So I'm just saying, isn't it? Where's the line? Do you want to go in with zero info? Do you want to go in with 10% info? Like what's the?
Because for me, movies and video games that's apples and oranges for me. Like I'll go completely dark, knowing that for sure, yes, I know that I like the MCU formula. I know I like the movies. I can go in dark, get a perfect experience, not having seen anything, not being spoiled at all, and I really enjoy it. But for Anthem, because we're doing a podcast, it's kind of our job to know like everything that's going on. So when I say that they need to give us some information, I'm not telling us, throw in the whole fish. You put a little bait on the hook and you throw it out there and you give us something to chase. You give us something to nibble on. Because if you show us the Interceptor next month, then we have a full month to talk about the Interceptor. You don't show us all its weapons. You don't show its ultimate form. You don't show us, everything that you can unlock on it. You give us the basic abilities, a couple of different skins that you can unlock, and at the end you say, and more, or plus more, or keep grinding for more. And then that gets us saying, okay, this is what the Interceptor does. The people that really latch onto the Interceptor, they can really focus on that. They can start doing their fan art. They can start doing their cosplay for their Interceptor, and they do that. And then the following month, say, hey, this is a sneak peek at the Storm. It has this weapon. It has this damage ability. These are the abilities that it has. And then you don't show us everything again, and then you start talking about stuff like this.
But I think what Mike is trying to ask kind of is like how much do you want to see like on a regular basis? Because like is it just like, do you want like a small info drop like once a month or every couple of weeks? Because I mean, since EA Play, it's been about that consistent. I mean, I know it feels a little bit slower because we do the weekly podcast, but I mean, like July had the Twitch stream where we got a lot more information. That we got the bigger expansion upon the info from the demo from EA Play in July, and then we got the blog post at the start of August, which wasn't as revealing, but it's still something.
Well, the
we
blog
got
post didn't have
Gamescom, and
it.
then we got PAX, and then September, October, we don't know what's coming yet.
Well, but not only that,
we don't know because there's no precedent to what we can expect.
Well, and then we also had Mike and
Correct.
Ben. So
Correct.
so I guess, I mean, as far as a trickle is concerned, I think we've got a trickle coming. It's definitely, I mean, and this is it's probably not anywhere where we want it, because we want a lot and we want more
We
because
just
we're way
want the game
excited
right
about it.
now.
We
Right.
do,
Oh, yeah.
we
Oh,
do,
yeah,
but,
totally.
but I think part of it is we have to understand that, maybe that stuff isn't ready. Maybe they're not ready to show us
Or it's
the
not
Interceptor
finalized.
yet,
You know.
or it's not
Yes.
finalized.
It may not be the
So-
best like marketing strategy either to like show your hand like this.
Well,
early.
I'm not saying show everything. I never
Right.
said show us.
Right, and we don't think you are. We don't think you're saying that, but you're saying you want more than what is currently being given out.
Right, and that's fine because a lot of people don't even know which games are releasing.
Yeah.
And I think that's a problem. I don't have TV. Have you guys seen Anthem commercials on TV?
Those do cost a lot.
I-
Though.
I actually, believe it or not, have seen one, because I remember it because I sat with my kids and I said, "That's the game we're talking about."
Were you watching a YouTube video?
No, it was actually was it on TV? Maybe I
We
have to
watched
think
it
about that.
on the TV, but it was
We did watch it on the TV. It was on the big TV, but I
I'm
don't
gonna
remember.
watch on YouTube because I have.
But I don't remember what format though. No, because I remember being surprised. I'll get back to you on that.
I don't think there's any commercial spots.
I mean, I think that there might have been a couple in LA. I mean, I wouldn't trust this one either because it was my mom saying, "Oh, I saw the game that you guys talk about on your podcast," and it's like, to be fair, my mom doesn't know the difference between Halo and like Gears of War. Like,
It was probably
it's all
Fortnite.
video games to her.
Yeah, it was probably Fortnite.
So-
All right, continuing on, since I want all the information apparently. So Corey Pickering says, can you use weapons while flying at full speed,
No.
or do you have to hover to use guns?
yes.
Additionally, are there any air to ground or air to air weapons or abilities? Well, technically, any gun is like a air to ground. Well, if you're hovering, any of the guns can be air to ground if you're shooting onto the ground. Huh, that's weirded word. Okay, and then Mark says guns require hover, so you can't be flying while you're shooting your gun, but some gear can be used in flight. So we'll have to see all that when it comes out to see what you can shoot while you're flying. I'm gonna guess like the micro missiles from the Ranger. We saw that. I don't know how much more you're gonna be able to actually aim while you're flying because that's kind of hard to do. You're going twin stick shooter at that point, so we'll have to see how that works. All right.
Oh, you know what it was? We were watching.
Were you watching the Freelancer Codex podcast?
No, we were watching. I think we were watching 2017's trailer
Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right, real quick.
from the YouTube. Anyway,
All right, there's a lot to read here,
That's what it
but
was.
there are a couple job openings on BioWare's website. I don't know if you guys ever frequent the BioWare website as often as I do to look for stuff, but there are two Anthem-specific job openings. There is the art director for Anthem Live. So the title is Art Director dash Anthem Live. And then there's Live Service Executive Producer for Anthem. So I was reading a bunch of this stuff. So for the executive producer for Anthem, it says this. I'm just going to read this real quick. It might not be real quick, but bear with me, and then we'll talk about this. So BioWare is looking for a live service executive producer to complement our franchise executive producers and ensure we are building our HD experiences to sustain our player experience beyond. Whoa, this is really long. Beyond. Just lost my space here.
You did lose a space.
Initial
You did.
product launches.
Initial product launches. In this role, you will work as a principal partner to franchise EP. That's an executive producer to collaboratively. That's a long word. And define the future of BioWare's live game service. We are looking for a world-class live service producer who can blend creative player-facing vision and business requirements for success. You'll be responsible for driving the live service business around multiple games, starting with our recently revealed Anthem title. So this is going to be like, hey, you're going to work on Anthem, then we're going to move you on to something. And here's where it gets interesting. As a live service executive producer, your chief responsibility is to manage and lead the live service development of our games. You'll do this by working in partnership with the launch product executive producer. You will ensure that the game design, systems, and economics of our game are built to maintain
Economies.
Oh, yeah, thanks, Mike. What'd I say?
Economics.
Oh, and economies of our game are built to maintain player engagement in our business for years of successful live game service. At launch, you'll then be responsible for the care and the advancements of those services. Okay, so it sounds like this sounds very similar to what Destiny is doing with their live service team. That once the game gets launched, it gets handed over to another group that's going to be focused on events. It's going to be focused on all those other
Keeping it going.
missions, adding in quests, and doing that. So, and then it says, this is the key leadership role that involves a high level of interaction with team members, development partners, studio leadership, and EA executives. You will be the chief product owner, player representative, and vision holder to our games as they launch and sustain as live services. The successful candidate will have a strong mix of creative, technical, innovative leadership experience from the live service gaming space, parentheses, MMO, mobile, etc. So it sounds like this is going to be something that's all encompassing. Is this game gets launched, this is going to get handed over, and you know what? This live service team is going to take the reins from here. Now, I don't know if that means that once the game gets launched, that the main team is going to continue to making maybe Anthem 2 or working on expansions, or what exactly that means. Because I assume that the creative, like the story team that's working on it now, would stay there to continue the story, but it sounds like maybe it might be handed over to a live service team.
Yeah, well, I mean, we know there's already a team working on DLC type stuff. They told us that, in the interviews they did with Game Informer. They told us, yeah, we already have a team working on stuff for launch. So, I mean, it's good. It's kind of like if you go back to, Mike brought up Sea of Thieves. They have 4 separate teams working on expansions for that game, So that gives them all time to iterate and make their stuff. And I'm sure they have, people who are over all the teams, so all the stuff goes together, And that's kind of, I think, what this live service person is doing is they're in charge of making sure all this stuff keeps going and keeps players engaged. And, I'm sure they're going to have, studios working on that content. Because you can't just, it's a live service game. You have to... Content is the problem, right? I mean, we've all experienced that. Because we consume it faster than they anticipate, or they're like, well, you've consumed it, but now we have events and things like that to try to keep you entertained and try and keep you here until we can have more content come out next month or the month after.
So what do you think the model is going to be? Do you think it's going to be big release, small stuff sprinkled in from the live team, big expansion, small stuff, or is it going to be Anthem 2 in 2 years from now?
I would hope for more regular updates, like monthly updates to the content, because that's what I want is a regular update. But I mean, they could do like every 3 months is a big release, and then have smaller content come out, every month type of thing. Or if they just keep doing events, I mean, we don't know really what their plans are yet. So I mean, it's all up in the air. But I would like, big content releases along with smaller ones. So,
JD, do you want I almost said Destiny 2. Do you want an Anthem 2 years, or do you just want it to be Anthem live service game? With every time they release a new content drop, it's just Anthem, the fall of Fort Tarsus, Anthem, The Rise of the Grabbits King or something like that.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
He's asking you if you want just expansions or if you want a big new game like Destiny does, where they do expansions, but then they're like, "Oh, we're going to launch a new game and just destroy everything we did in the last 2 years."
World of Warcraft, or you want?
I mean,
I want World of Warcraft.
I want more like the World of Warcraft, and I like more like Star Wars: The Old Republic, to use a BioWare example. I mean, I feel like Destiny's marketing plan at this point is almost like make a game that's halfway there to being like truly great, and then don't make any improvements in the DLCs, then release an expansion that makes all the improvements, improve upon that, and then forget it for the sequel and rinse and repeat. You know, I feel like that's almost their marketing strategy.
Harsh,
That's
JD.
not what I want.
Harsh.
That's not what I
Salty
want.
JD showed up.
I'm sorry. I'm tired of seeing that. I want to see expansions that are continually building upon systems. Like if they had expanded upon, like the Rise of Iron from Destiny with Destiny 2, that would have been great. However, it's like Destiny 2 took 2 steps forward and like 5 steps back, as we found out after a month.
Yeah. So you want content that continues to move the game and franchise forward, but not obliterate everything that came before it.
Yes. Builds upon itself, evolves.
Yeah. I mean, we know when things get added, eventually stuff changes, right? So, I mean, there are systems that will come and go, but, yeah. I mean, I prefer the expansion stuff, so it's not like I have to, buy the new game, and then you forget about everything that you already played because it doesn't exist anymore. I don't like that model. So
I think I jump off the ship if we ever hear the phrase, "Oh, your freelancer lost everything and has to start over."
Yeah.
And then it's like, yeah, let's not do that. Okay, so moving on. I think we beat that, grab it into the ground. I wonder if there's a horse equivalent. Space horse? We'll probably have a space horse, right?
Space
we
snake?
have space hawks, space snake.
Space snake.
Yeah. So
snakes on the ship.
this happened a while ago.
I'm tired of these snakes on this plane.
So I know this happened a while ago. None of us talked about it. Mike brought it up. So Mark Dara released this tweet, right? Mark Dara, he knows how to use Twitter. He has his own Twitter account, so he can tweet whatever he wants, right? It doesn't always have to be answers to Anthem questions. So he tweets this out. 12 is the largest single-syllable number in English. 2 is the only even prime. Coincidence? ? No, because those things aren't even related to each other. So a lot of people have taken this to be a hint as when the demo is going to release. Some crazy, insane people think it's a key to a cipher from the blog post from August 2nd. That crazy person would be JD. So my stance is this is nothing. Where do you guys stand on this tweet as far as any secret information that it may be hiding, containing?
Well, there's a lot of information that it could be hiding. First, it has numbers. Numbers are always indicative of code or ciphers, okay? But then there's also the line that says these things are not related. Okay, so that's a line in and of itself could be meaning. This is probably where Steven's getting his thing, that like the thing I'm tweeting now is not related to anything Anthem. Or it might be a thing where we have to go through his last few Twitter feeds, his last few tweets from that line, and maybe something isn't related there. So it could be a lot of things. It could be nothing. It could be the key to life. It could be the key to beating the game. It could be just the musings of Mark Dara, who gets questions a lot and a lot and a lot, and he's tired of that.
Yeah, so for me, I mean, I'm never big into like these yeah, the ARGs or whatever, and
Augmented reality game.
yes, I'm just, I'm busy, I'm tired, I got three kids, those are cool, I think they're cool, I just don't have time for them, and so I'm just like, I don't want to spend,
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Any time of my run cycle in my brain on that.
Nice.
And so, I mean, it's cool. I hope there is. I mean, I love that stuff for other people because it's exciting to watch them figure it out. I just don't have time, or I've never really been interested into that kind of stuff. So it's cool to see from the outside, and I see people, I'm like, man, how did you connect all these dots or whatever? And it's like, that's cool. You went here, blah blah blah, all over the place, and those are cool things.
We'll watch the documentary after it's done.
Yeah.
The document. We'll watch the
I
document.
mean, those are cool things,
The
and
documentary.
I hope they have stuff like that for Anthem, because that's definitely a good way of getting gamers excited. Just for me, I'm just like,
So is releasing information.
it's true, but they got a plan. They're gonna stick to it, and that's fine with me. They're gonna reveal a lot of stuff at the end of the month at PAX West at their hour-long presentation. So that's gonna be awesome. Wish I was there, but at least they're streaming it so we can watch it. So
Yep.
I'm sure that'll give us a lot more to talk about. We're always gonna have questions until we can get the game in our hands and actually get to play it. I was super jealous. Ben tweeted out they had people in there play testing. I was like, man, screw those people. I want to be that person. But just because, I want to play the game. We all want to play the game.
Justin Bieber was one of them. So.
It could have been. Nothing makes me happier than seeing a celebrity who doesn't really care about video games get to go play a video game early. Nothing makes me want to buy a video game more than seeing a celebrity who is a piece of play the game early because they're a celebrity. That's cool, right? Gamers love that. But
Wow.
no,
Can you tell us how you really feel?
I told you Salty was gonna show
Yeah,
up sometime, right?
Don't hold anything
But,
back.
I think all the salt has gone from Mike and got to everybody else.
Yeah. It leaked down on my screen. So no, but it's
Nice.
just it's fun to hear the people get to play test it and they're doing stuff, but at the same time, I'm jealous obviously because I want to play. But I don't want to see them saying, "Oh, this celebrity stopped by, play the game." I'm just like, yeah, whatever. I don't care. That person's a celebrity. Just because a celebrity played the game means jack diddly to me. I don't care. It doesn't make me want to buy a game more. Celebrity endorsements don't really do much for me unless it's Tom Cruise. So if Tom Cruise tells me to play Anthem, then I'll play Anthem.
He'll probably do his own
Anyways.
stunts in Anthem. What do you do?
does, for
JD,
sure.
Do you have comments on this tweet? I know you're in on this Mark Dare conspiracy, JD. So
Well, I just think that there's a potential. The whole thing is that ciphers are often used as keys in decoding hidden messages or encrypted messages, and that's been something they used in times before we had things like the internet and that sort of thing. We
there
know
was a
there's no
time
computers.
before the internet.
It was dark. It was a
But
Tuesday.
the whole thing is that it's a world where this kind of stuff exists, where basically like they have to send coded messages, perhaps because of a lack of safer, more secure technology that could lead to easier communication of classified information or something. We got. I'm pulling at strings, and I know that. But the whole thing is that there are ciphers out there that use two numbers to decode letters or text, or maybe it's just using the same cipher twice, but with 12 once, and then 12 on the first time, and then 2 on the second time. I don't know. I'm not an expert code breaker or anything like that. But if any of our listeners are, Hail Mary here, help me out so I can prove the rest of these guys wrong.
Yeah,
I
my
didn't say you were
thing is if I think the games are fine. Like Devon, I don't have time for ARGs, especially ARGs that just go super into depth into decoding ASCII to hex to binary and back to gigabit with the flip flop and the deep glop. So if it was a code, knowing the internet, knowing BioWare fans and any fans of games like this, it'd be solved already, right?
Right.
The
the
sheer
whole
amount of
thing
brute
is-
force that people have with that amount of people, it would be solved if that was.
If everybody cared about it that much, yeah. But the whole thing, we only have, like I said earlier, we have average gamers, we have hardcore gamers, and out of the 4 of us, none of us really cares enough to really go out and try, looking through a bunch of different ciphers and finding one that works and cracks it. We're all busy. We all got other things to do. We just don't care enough to do it. How many of those types of people that have that amount of time to look at all those ciphers and do all that, if it's a matter of people, it's like the number gets smaller the longer you think about it.
Well, I'm guessing there was a Reddit thread about it. So if the Reddit couldn't solve it with the amount of people going in and out, I'm gonna guess that's just my take on it. That it's nothing, or else. But I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I will.
That's fine.
I'll just say I'm wrong. So
Being wrong is okay.
I won't eat anything.
Yeah,
It's okay to
it's
be
okay.
wrong.
It's okay to be wrong.
So-
Yeah, it's
It's
a learning
not-
experience.
It's also okay to end the
You're wrong a lot.
50th episode of the Freelancer Codex because it's been lovely time chatting with you gentlemen on what is yes, Devon is reminding us that we are doing a storm pin giveaway for the person that will comment on the YouTube link to this episode,
You have to-
and they're going to comment with what game they're playing, and we will pick a random winner that is not me apparently, and they will get a storm pin. Devon, is this going to be international, US only? You sending this thing anywhere?
Send it anywhere, until it starts costing me a lot of money. Then I might change my mind. But
Then I might have to change.
Space station?
I don't
Then
know
I
about that
might
one.
have to change.
But yeah, no, I mean you gotta subscribe to our YouTube channel and comment down there. So, we put out great content, right? So, no reason not to subscribe.
I guess that's all relative.
What? I'm out of here.
So, Devon, will you tell them to smash the like button and follow in your best YouTuber voice?
No.
You can do it. Do it, Devon. Come on, do it.
Smash the like button and follow.
Wow, you're the worst. Well,
You're
until
the
next
worst.
time,
Smash it and
there's
like
a
it.
superstorm coming.
Pick things up and put them
We'll
down.
see you on the other side.
Peace.
Adios, amigos.
Bye bye.
Was that French?
Could have been. You never know.
You can find
Aloha.
us on Twitter at Freelancer Codex, on Facebook at Freelancer Codex, or through email at freelancercodex@gmail.com.